if you make a story, Donald Trump is bad. Donald Trump throws a bag of puppies over a bridge. People are going to be like, oh, no. You do a story, Donald Trump runs into burning building to save a box of puppies. Prove it. That's not true. That's unverified. I don't believe it.
The fire wasn't even that hot, Tim.
Yeah, come on,
It was barely hot. So.
Well, the joke I made before is that they'll find a way to make it negative.
Yeah.
Like Donald Trump, he is the president of the United States, should not be risking his life and this country for puppies. We all love puppies, but it was irresponsible. They'll find some way to make it bad.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, the point is, I've talked about it before with COVID. If the story about COVID is that it's the end of the world, you're totally fine. If the story about COVID is that there's hope, they ban you, they shut you down. So it's like whatever this establishment is, they can only say one thing that aligns with their acceptable narrative. I wonder if there's not really an establishment of corrupt people who are, wealthy and in power, as much as it is a bunch of people pointing guns at each other, scared. The idea being, if I actually admit how I feel, I'll get canceled. So I better join the mob and cancel them so no one finds out.
Yep.
But in reality, everybody secretly agrees they hate what's going on, but they've trapped themselves.
I think that you're probably right. There's a lot of people that are afraid of the repercussions of standing up and saying, no, I don't think that I agree with that. And, like I said, I'm not like a pro-Trump guy. You're not going to find, MAGA 2020 or whatever on anything that I put out. I'll criticize Trump without hesitation if he does something stupid. The other day when he put up the Joe Biden meme where Joe Biden was in an old age home.
You're already laughing.
I did. I laughed. I can't.
I know, it's hilarious.
I think the guy's a clown. Biden, Trump is hilarious. He's a clown.
Wait. It was Biden for residents.
Yes, I love
the P
that
was
so
X'd
much.
out, and it was Joe in a nursing home.
I think it's funny that Trump does that stuff. I mean, Trump is a S poster, and I think it's great. I think it's hilarious. I know that it makes people mad, and they'll get over it. But it's dumb, and that's what it is, and it's probably not a good idea for the president to be doing it. Aside from the fact that people like me laugh about it, but it's probably not a good idea. So I criticize him for that. Trump shouldn't be doing this. This is dumb or whatever. But because I don't hate Donald Trump enough, and because I'm like, well, I'm critical when he deserves it. I'm probably like Ben Shapiro in the fact that, Shapiro has the good Trump, bad Trump thing that he does. So I have no problem being like Trump's a bad, Trump did this wrong, or I don't agree with that. But it's people that stand up and stick their head up. Those people will get their head chopped off. So I think you're right.
I think there are a lot of people who are secretly pro-Trump pretending to be an SJW. Like they'll tweet saying like, oh, Trump is bad. And then they're deep down like, I'm going to go vote for Trump because I can't live this way anymore. They're scared of getting canceled. We had that Cato Institute poll. 62% of people are scared to speak their minds. There's strong liberal, center, conservative, strong conservative. The only one of those that felt comfortable expressing their opinions was strong liberal.
Strong liberal.
Far left.
I mean, I like liberalism. I like free people. I like liberty. I don't like communism. And like
strong liberal.
Strong liberal is fine, but I draw the line at like American left versus international left. American left, cool. I get it.
This is the crazy thing. When Cato says strong liberal, they don't mean liberal in any way.
Do you think they mean communist?
They mean far left, progressive. Because that's just how they worded it. I mean,
collectivist.
Yeah. More. It's so weird how liberal came to mean collectivist in many ways.
In the U.S. context, yes, but that's why I mentioned internationally. When you start to really kind of read about political philosophies, as well as anyone else that and I mentioned property rights early. Property rights are foundational to the U.S. To the U.S. mindset, I guess. And I think that the fact that people on the very far left don't acknowledge that you should have property rights, that's where the biggest problem for me comes up. I can get into, okay, I understand why people would want to have progressive taxation, or I understand why people would want to have safety nets. I understand why people would want to have some kind of universal health care, even though I don't think that it's a good idea. I understand why. I don't understand why people want to say you cannot own your home or a business or any kind of property that you can create things with.
It's simple. I've noticed something, at least anecdotally, because I've covered a bunch of, a lot of these civil unrest stories around the world, starting with the U.S., Occupy, moving to other countries. The protests in Venezuela when I were there, it was the rich people that were protesting.
Really?
Yeah, because the government was taking their stuff away from them and impoverishing them, and so they got mad. In other countries, it's the poor that's protesting. So it tends to be, in like Venezuela, where they were enacting all this socialist policy, it was the middle to upper class that were angry and coming out in the streets and protesting about it. But it's really simple as to why they don't want you to have property, because they don't have any. It's that simple. So they're not losing anything.
That's such an ugly way to I guess exist in society.
Let's play some communist scenario games, because I was tweeting once, and the Socialist Workers Party of Great Britain or whatever.
Oh, that's one of the most clowned on Twitter accounts out there.
I love it.
Good for them for really believing it though, because they keep coming back for more, man.
That's amazing.
So good on them.
It's got to be a parody account now. Like, I can't believe. So listen. I tweeted something like, we had a long exchange where the gist of it was, if we were in a socialist system, how do you draw the distinction between private property and personal property? They like to say no one should be allowed private property. And I'm like, so I can't have like my clothes? No, that's personal property. Okay, so what's the difference? Where do you draw the line? There's no answer. There's no way to So I asked this. I have a camera. It's a small little camera. I use it to produce videos. Does it qualify as the means of production? Some people say yes, some people say no. There's no answer.
Yeah.
But when I was talking to the Socialist Party of Great Britain or whatever, it was funny. We got into a conversation where I basically said something like, if I want to like build a car because I enjoy working on cars, how would I do that in a socialist or communist system where my job is, told to me essentially? Or maybe I chose a job. Maybe I decided I really want to be an accountant. But you know what? It's really fun to work on cars, and I want a hobby. They responded with, well, it's really simple. You would just work on a car. I was like, well, how do I get the car? You would just go to the plant and say you wanted a car, and you'd get it. And I was like, but other people want cars too. And they were like, right, but you can just go there and get it. And I'm like, no. There's a thing called scarcity. They don't believe in scarcity.
Amazing.
They don't. I had someone tell me, you really believe that scarcity exists? And I was like, I know for a fact it does, because like I've been around the world and I know that there's places with no food. And they were like, no, there is food. It's just artificially kept from them. We throw away so much food. I'm like, that doesn't mean, you don't understand.
I feel like the communists and socialists, more communists to be, if I'm being accurate, because I think there's a lot of people that misunderstand what socialism is, and they don't realize that socialism leads to Lenin said the end result or the end goal of socialism is communism.
Right.
I don't think that they realize that life is more complex than they seem to think. No matter how much food we produce in the U.S. and no matter how much we throw away, the inefficiency or the inability to efficiently distribute that food around the world is going to mean that some of that food's going to go bad and it won't get to people and blah, blah, blah. And just getting food to people in places that are very far away, it's like, it's not as easy as just, we can make it and it'll just show up there. I love the idea of, fully automatic luxury communism.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sounds amazing.
If you can come up with the Star Trek replicators,
right, exactly.
Fine.
Yeah.
Totally. I'm on board.
Yeah.
Go right ahead.
No. To be honest, even in that scenario, no way.
Probably not. But.
So they always say this to me, like, don't you want a Star Trek future? And I'm like, yeah, they have replicators, bro. Yeah. Like, they literally go, computer. Earl Grey. Earl Grey.
Yeah.
Hot. Yeah, there you go. And then it's just like, and it appears there.
Yeah.
They can teleport themselves. They can replicate replicators.
Not there yet.
Yeah, okay, that's post scarcity, dude.
Yeah.
But even the Star Trek world isn't communist.
No, they have credits, and the Ferengi were always after Latinum and
Latinum. That's right.
I love Deep Space Nine. I really love that one.
Good show. But in the Federation, it was there. That people always say it was communist, but it's not communist.
No.
There was still, you had to earn things, you had to make your own things. When you joined, you had to earn your skills, and then you could choose to join certain jobs. You could freely move. You could freely quit Starfleet. There was no mandatory service. None of that.
Didn't Picard have a vineyard?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's property.
Exactly.
You know, so
it's kids who live in a fantasy world. They don't understand the harsh realities of the world, and I think that's why so many of these communist and socialist activists are young people, because they haven't actually ever experienced what it's like to be outside of the bubble. I'll put it this way: could you imagine what Rockefeller would say if he was transported? Just like as like, you know, at the peak of his wealth, he just appeared right now.
I think he'd be freaked out that oil was destroying the ecosystem.
No, he wouldn't.
I think he would be. I
think
think if he realized how destructive it is, like the fracking and just the extraction has become, he would rethink what he did.
I don't think so. I mean,
He
fracking
wasn't
else.
insane.
No, what I'm talking about is he was the oil baron. He was like the richest guy ever, or not even that. Let's do a better example. I don't know the names of anybody behind the East India Trading Company, but that was like the biggest company in existence at the time. Back, what year was the East India Trading Company?
1700s, I think.
Was it?
Yeah.
Imagine taking any one of these people, the wealthiest people in the world, and bringing them now and bringing them to a low-income housing project.
I don't have to throw my poop out the window.
Yeah, man.
Right.
That's great.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Even the poor people can just go in the little room and it goes away?
Yes.
Yep.
Excellent
Clean
point.
drinking water.
Yeah.
Air conditioning. Refrigeration.
Air conditioning is a big one. I tell you what, not to get off on a tangent, but Europe doesn't know
I
about
know,
doesn't
man. What's
know
up with
about
that?
AC.
They don't get
Dude,
it.
I was in the UK. I'll tell you what, and I was going to be speaking at an event. They booked me at a hotel on the 4th floor of this hotel. All the heat was rising, and it was like high 80 degrees in my hotel room. And so I asked them, "Do you have a fan? I can crack the window and blow some air." And they're like, "What's the problem?" And I was like, "It's like 89 degrees in my room. I'm profusely sweating."
Dying.
And they were like, "Oh, okay. We'll see if we can figure something out." They found me a fan. I got my fan. I was like, "Okay." So I decided, I'm gonna take a bath and chill and maybe like, regulate body temperature. I turned the water on. The water was boiling when it came out.
Oh, no.
I was like, "What are these people? Are they like fire
this
demons?
hell?
They can like, yeah. What is this?" Anyway.
It's
air
only hot
conditioning.
for like 15 minutes in England. I think
Yeah,
that's
that's
why.
fair.
Correct me if
probably
I'm
it.
wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I will.
I heard there's a statue to the guy who invented air conditioning in Miami.
There is. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I need to look it up, but
Look
there
it
does
up.
exist
Look it
such a
up.
thing.
People
Yeah.
have said that the reason why community has diffused in the United States, why we don't hang out with our neighbors as much, is because of air conditioning.
No
like in
way.
South America, they'll hang out outside on the front porch.
right.
That kind of makes sense. Yeah. I could see it.
Air
Yeah.
conditioning, I tell you what, in Dogma, the movie by Kevin Smith.
Yes, good movie.
Yeah.
The scene where Jason Lee walks into the room, into the house,
Yeah.
and turns the air conditioning up, and just I feel that in my bones sometimes.
No exquisite sin greater than Central Air.
Perfect. I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. Kevin Smith's great. I
So,
love
so
it.
True.
but anyway, to now that we're done making fun of this, was this guy he invented? Okay, did you find
John
it?
Gorey. Oh, yep.
Oh,
There
There's
it
a
is.
statue of the guy who invented air conditioning in Miami.
He
Good
seems
for him.
pretty cool. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you, everyone.
Is
That's
it
my joke for
because?
the day.
But is it because he invented air conditioning? I was told it was because I lived in Miami for a year.
Well, let's look him up.
When you're in Miami, and in the summer, every window is dripping with condensation from the air conditioning on the inside and the humidity on the outside, and no one goes outside. Yeah.
It's like
So
101 and humid.
yes, and like the thunderstorms are awesome though. Like
That does seem
the
cool.
tropical storms,
yeah.
It's like, man, it's cool. It's just like you're gonna die, and you're like, yeah, it's great, but you're fine.
Storm, yeah.
Anyway, the point is, our poor people are overweight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
dude.
like, so I think we do have some kind of problem with regulation. And I don't mean regulation in terms of law. I mean like regulating resources in certain ways.
Sure.
So we have homeless people who are overweight.
Yep.
And we have poor people who have clean drinking water and air conditioning, but not, lack of access to other resources. The point I'm trying to make is when they say things like abolish poverty and, poverty shouldn't exist, I'm like, well, if we base everything off of 1900, there is no poverty at all.
Yeah.
None.
Absolutely none.
Except, I guess, homelessness. But even then, homeless people are overweight, so it's like a weird.
It's that sugar, that
Even-
addictive sugar.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
We could
Even
do some,
Go ahead.
we could do something about the sugar industry.
I would love to get rid of corn subsidies.
Yes.
There is no reason to have
Thank
corn
you.
subsidies and have high fructose corn syrup and everything. It is a terrible policy in my opinion. And I would love to have sugarcane Coca-Cola available in the
Well,
lower 48 as well.
Yeah,
Well,
for
hold
sure.
on. Why is there sugar in everything? I wouldn't
Subsidized.
mind.
Addictive. It makes money.
You know what I like doing? You take a little shot of lemon juice, put it in club soda. Tastes great.
That's it.
It tastes great.
Cinnamon's
I'm
a
gonna
little
put sugar in
sweet.
it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It like extracts the sugar that's already in your body into your taste buds.
I'm a black coffee drinker. No sugar, no anything. So I mean, I fully agree that we don't need to have sugar in everything. It's probably why we have so much diabetes, why we have so many overweight people.
Yep.
It's like the tobacco industry of the day. They're peddling it to kids with commercials and cartoon characters like they used to in like the 50s with tobacco.
I'm just over a year off of nicotine. I smoked for a long time. So that kind of getting people hooked on stuff, I take issue with it. So if we could do something to remedy that, I'd be all for it.
As a libertarian, how do you kind of go into that kind of? Do you utilize government regulations? How do you feel about those?
I don't claim to know enough about most situations to say this is what should or shouldn't be done, but I do think generally as a rule you get better results when it's done privately for most issues. There are certain things that I think that you can't do in the private in the private marketplace, but I think that most things are better left to private industry. So as for regulation, corn subsidies, I don't understand why we're paying people to either grow corn or paying people to not grow corn.
Yeah.
They pay people to not
right,
grow.
is
What is
that
it called?
weird?
Fallowing? Is that what it's called? Fallow?
I don't know much about it,
think
but I
it's
know
called-
that they
I
do
don't know,
pay
look it
to keep fields empty and stuff sometimes. So I don't know the ins and outs of it. I'm not in any way an expert, and anything that I say should be taken with a grain of salt. But the idea of putting high fructose corn syrup in everything,
Salad dressing.
It's crazy.
I don't think that's necessary.
It didn't exist
I don't
until
think-
the 90s, I don't think. 92, is that when they invented that stuff?
Really?
92?
91? Yeah.
Yeah,
it was
What
like
stuff?
Seems recent.
High fructose corn syrup
I don't know.
didn't used to
know, yeah.
exist.
I mean,
Same with
corn syrup's been around
aspartame,
for a
man.
while. Yeah. Yes, for
Aspartame is deadly.
So fallowing isn't specifically, when they're forced to, but fallowing is when they till the land and then don't do anything with it.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually interviewed some farmers when I was in California, and they said it's a big part of what happens is like they'll have the people come out and tell them, okay, we're gonna fallow your fields for the next amount of time, and we're gonna pay you.
Yeah.
It's like just paying them not to farm.
Dude, I
I
was
don't
doing
understand.
I mean, I think it's my initial reaction to a lot of these things is I might not understand, but I try to be very careful not to take heavy actions against or for something just because I don't understand. So, for instance, Trump was paying off a lot of farmers because the trade war was hurting a lot of the farm industry. But the trade war was the result of us losing many jobs and production overseas that we needed to bring back. So it created this ripple effect, and then Trump had to plug a hole that popped up over here.
Did we actually did the trade war work? Because I'm, again, as a libertarian, I kind of was like, I don't think the trade war is a good idea. Trade war leads to real war. China's got nukes. They're already, getting buck wild in the South China Sea, and there's all kinds of stuff that's going on over there. I don't know if the trade war produced the results that we wanted to, because we're still trillions of dollars in debt to China.
The debt just kept going up.
Yeah.
Especially under Trump. But I think in one way, I can say I think we did is that a lot of jobs were coming back. And one of the problems is we don't make our own medicine. We don't make our own vitamin C, our own materials. And COVID was a real slap in the face to America. I mean, it proved Trump right in a lot of ways. It was last year, apparently, the Trump administration was saying, we need to restore our medical supply production back in the U.S.
He was saying it before COVID?
Way before COVID.
Oh.
But it's been Trump's thing.
Yeah.
It's we got to get our factories back. Here's what we got to do. And so it was some Trump admin people said it. And I remember I covered it, and I was like, this was in September of last year.
Yeah.
We need to bring our medical supplies back to the U.S. Then COVID hits, and it was sign the executive order, get it done because we need it. And so I think even before all that, one of the reasons the economy was doing better and better, at least partly, was, the tariffs, the trade war, and we started seeing factories come back. I remember, I don't know if you saw what Michael Moore said in 2016 about Trump.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And it's so did you hear what?
No.
So Michael Moore had this bit where he went in he tells this long story, and he's like, Donald Trump went into a meeting with executives from the auto industry. And he said to their faces, I am going to put a tariff on your vehicles of 30% and no one will buy your car ever again if you make it overseas. And they said, try it. And Trump said, I will. So these people who see Trump doing this are going to vote for him. And it will be the biggest collective FU in history. And he says, and they're going to love it for a week.
It'll feel good.
Yeah, it'll feel good.
Yeah.
Maybe a month, maybe a year. And then, like the people who voted for Brexit, they will come to regret it. The best part about that is 3 years later, Brexit got voted on again and won. They did not regret it at all. Yeah. And the people who voted for Trump enjoyed the greatest economy of our generation. Yeah. So Michael Moore had the first part right, second part not right.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for COVID, I think that Donald Trump would be
landslide.
Oh, for sure.
Reagan
really
redux.
Think so. I think that there's a lot of people that still don't want to say positive things about him, and there's the general consensus that it's politically incorrect to say good things about Trump. But I do think that if it wasn't for COVID, it'd be a landslide. And if you really look at the COVID situation, I mean, I was talking to someone on Twitter the other day, and I'm like, back in March and April, they were talking about, everyone in the country's probably going to get it. 75% of America's probably going to get it. It's super contagious. And we're going to have 1% die. So you're talking about millions of people dying. And I mean, I don't want to downplay 200 and change thousand people dying, but if we look back at what was going on and what the conversations that were being had back then, and then look forward to, and come back to now, it's like 200 and change thousand people is a whole lot less than a few million.
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking. That's what everyone was thinking. That's what I thought. I thought it was like we're gonna have
So it's a spot on point. There was a New York Times article where you had two slider bars, and you could slide up to percent infected and mortality rate. And they were like, if this percent of people contract it and we have this percent of mortality, it was like 12 million people could die. And the low end was like 1.7.
Yeah.
So it sounds like, based on what they were telling us,
the low end.
We are below the low end, and that what happened worked. And it's a combination of the Democrat governors locking down and Trump's efforts in banning travel together. Seems like it worked out for us. Not perfectly. People died. What can we do about it? Yeah. I tell you this. Trump misses his cues in these town halls and these debates because he gets asked, ladies and gentlemen, why is the mortality rate per capita in the U.S. worse? Why are more people dying per capita in the U.S. than other countries? It's Donald Trump's fault, they say.
Let's answer this.
Oh, I got a simple answer for you. It's because several governors put sick people in nursing homes, killing thousands of the elderly.
Crazy
They
Republican
didn't do that in other countries, did they?
Yeah.
And that was Democrats who did that. And now Cuomo's like, that didn't happen. I didn't do that.
I
didn't kill all those people. Yes, he did. So you know what I like to think? Like you mentioned this. Sane, rational people have memories. People who have Trump derangement syndrome have selective memories.
Yeah,
they don't want to remember any of this.
I hate to, because I have good friends that really, really hate Donald Trump, and so I don't want to paint with a broad brush, and especially because I'm definitely an outside viewpoint when it comes to the entertainment industry. People that are in the entertainment industry generally do not have a positive view of Donald Trump, and I get it. But it really does seem like you're right that people that really don't like Trump and have TDS or whatever.
TDS. Trump anxiety disorder is the official term.
It's an actual official.
Yeah,
it's such a. It's like a clown car on fire.
Seriously.
It's just
but
ramming into the wall. But clown body parts flying.
Think about it this way:
flames.
Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. We do the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. So come back to check us out when we go live. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, hit the notification bell, and we are also available on all podcast platforms for free if you want to listen to us there. Thanks for hanging out, and we will see you all next time.